Oh, I did it now. I got away way too late. I was tired. I didn't tell everybody this, but I was up at 6 o'clock this morning. I was at the barn at 7:30, 7:40. I might have been up at 6. The kids weren't up till around. I wanted to leave them as late as I could, but so our house in Guelph to First Line Training Center about 10-12 minutes. In between there is the kids' school. So for us, because they go on the bus, so for us to be home to take the kids to school, Amy and I, one of us has to stick around till around 8:15 when the bus picks them up. That doesn't get us on the track till like 8:40. By the time you stop at Starbucks and get to the barn, it's like 8:40, 8:30, 8:40. So a couple of times though last month we called an audible and pitched the kids in the car at 7:20. Put an iPad in here and said, hey, I'll bring you over to school at 8:20. And I guess 7:30. Bring you over to school at 8:20, but you're going to have to get up a little bit earlier. So this morning I was up early. The kids were up a little bit earlier. Went over to the barn. Got the first 2 sets in. Got the first set in. And then Amy took the kids over to school 7 minutes away. And then I went and trained Brace for Landing. You saw that training trip today. We'll talk about a number of those. I don't want to spend too much time going on because everything was reported for the most part today. I had a lot of questions about a few things in particular, so I thought I would give everybody just an update video as I'm heading over to Ohio. Things that maybe go unmentioned or missed that I wanted to talk about. There's not going to be everything on here. I mean, there's not A to Z, hey, this is something that we haven't talked about. Anyway, I get Brace trained. I was very, very happy. He looked good, right? Very, very good. He'll go a mile in 2.2 or 2.3 on Friday at First Line if the track's in good shape. It was decent today, a little firm, a little muddy on top. You saw where he trained the horses out about too wide because it was a little muddy. So I was up early, kids were up early. We get the first set over with. Amy goes takes the kids over. Now, I apologize, the sets aren't live in Ontario. It's not by design, there's nothing we can do. There's not enough, as Addie says at Dad, we need more Wi-Fi. If her computer doesn't work for any reason, if her iPad doesn't work, or whatever she happens to be working, we need more Wi-Fi. We need more Wi-Fi at First Line Training Center. There's just none there. You can barely get a call out in some places depending on where you're standing. So there's just not enough there to stream it. That's just the way it is. So Curtis has been good about it. We try to get them on the track early. Usually in the winter we do. The spring, before it thaws. Now we were wrong today. The track stayed the same. If anything, it loosened up once they started to work it a bit. But it was firm with that mucky stuff on top, about a little layer of it, down in the 1.5 path, and then out in the middle of the track, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 wide. It wasn't too bad. A little tacky. Enough that you had to take your suit home and wash it, but not horrible. So we get the first set over with. I went with Brace, and Amy came back. We finished the sets. In between set 3 and 4, I went first trip with Crantini. After last set, I went last trip with Crantini. James trained Locatelli. You didn't see him because it was a little bit after and Curtis couldn't stay. So James galloped How the Hell. Now, How the Hell was a little crazy today, and James was a little angry. And I put it to him this, like, when we were in the conversation, we'll talk about James not coming to Ohio and, what went into that. But what everybody has to understand is James is the leading driver in Canada. He virtually volunteers at the barn. And we're lucky to have him, mostly because he's my brother there, but because he's got a good set of hands and he has good eyes and he understands what we're trying to do. Now, James and I, we talk about this all the time. We're like oil and water when it comes to training sometimes. James likes to be nice and quiet and gentle, and I'm more of the sledgehammer, right? Work some more. And if you're a little tired, okay, go work. And, I believe, and the reason we work so well is because when I do believe the horses are working hard, I'll then step away from them, right? And James will start going with them and pampering them. My wife said to me today, she goes, insider trading was like 5th in that set. I said, honey, we took the hobbles off her. We took the bell boots off her. I just wanted to relax because, and she goes, well, she is eating great. I said, the reason she's eating great is because her stress level is down. She took training very seriously through December, January, into the start of February. When I was going with her, we had the hobbles on her, and she looked like she was bionic. That's because she was on her toes. You can't have them on their toes all the time. So I told them, I told her, I said, it's fine. She's doing everything right. And we always try to have that churn, right? Where I'll go with some of the horses, make sure they're on their toes and on the straight and narrow, and then we'll allow them to back up a little bit. We don't want to work them, and work. You just can't do that. You're looking for trouble. Their stress goes up, they eat less, they get sore. You don't have effective horses. But the mix we have in the barn works really well, and it has. And James is a real component to that. So it's very important that he's there. So in him not coming to Ohio today, it was just the fact that I didn't want to beg him to go. I didn't want to put him in a spot where he was angry that I was putting him in that position. So he said he'd rather not, and I said fine, but I would like you to come for the open house. And that's going to be a real toll on him. Now, for me, it's going to be tiring. We're going to have to go over to Ohio, do the open house on a Saturday, talk to some people, train the babies, get in the car, come back here. And on Sunday, do the open house in Ontario. That's the plan. Now, that's going to be taxing on me. In between those two things is a 12-race program for James. Saturday night, biggest night of the week. So that's a lot on him, too. So I didn't want to push him into coming over. It's fine. We moved the sets around. We took all James's entries, who have been trained with other people anyway. It's not like I've been going with them. Put them in to go, made it the 8th set now. Jason was a little upset, which he should be, because we have 8 sets, 3 sets of 3-year-olds to go, and I'm going to gallop Patrick de Piranha for you. You're going to see what it looks like to gallop the horses. So a lot going on. Our biggest chore, we're going to start early tomorrow, 8 a.m. Our biggest chore is going to be getting it all done before they kick us off the track. Northfield Park's track does close at 1 o'clock. Some days they close it at 12:30, but 1 o'clock usually the main track is closed for maintenance. So you might say, oh, it's lots of time. No, it's not. And that's going to be our chore for tomorrow. And I gave Jason a chance. I didn't want to put Jason on the spot and say, well, we're just going to do it, Jason, and that's that. I said, we got to push them. We'll push them. It's up to you. But I would like to video them for our clients. And he said, no, we'll get it done, which is good. Jason's always on point that way. So James went out to gallop How the Hell. This is very important. How the Hell's never been a real nice horse to jog anyway. He's got a mouth on him like an alligator, and if he's having a bad day, you can be sure you're having a bad day. He can pull, and he's not dangerous, but he can pull and he can be ornery and rude. So when I went with him the other day, I got about 4 laps into him. You have to seesaw him and I don't want to fight with him because he'll make a noise. So you seesaw him. You're trying to get him to relax and stay quiet. But he's a goof, and he's kind of rude sometimes. We cut him a lot of slack because he's tough as nails, but he can be rude sometimes. So James goes out, and I finished training Crantini. James is coming on the track with How the Hell, and he is not happy. James, why is this horse so hot? I said, James, well, he was fine the other day when I went, which is not accurate. He was a little rude, but manageable the other day. I believe is the way I should have actually categorized his behavior the other day. Manageable. He was 3 steps to the right of manageable today. Anyway, he got him galloped, and he wasn't happy. And he comes in, and he goes, what's going on with How the Hell? Why is he so hot? I said, I know you don't remember because you didn't jog him. He's never been nice to jog. If you walk him, keep him quiet, he's okay. When he was by himself at Tamiko, he was okay. But even on race night to warm him up when we were racing him, he was a handful. And you can't be too rough with him because he'll shut his air off. So you got a 3 little bears type situation. Not too strong, not too weak, just in the middle. And you'll be okay with How the Hell. So James wasn't happy. He galloped fine once you get him running, and he likes to run. That may not be a good thing, but I know I said that one day, and somebody said, oh, great, they like to run. That's great. They know the difference. When it's time to play, it's time to play. And he enjoys galloping, and he came in, and James was not happy, and he said, the horse is worse now than he's ever been. I said, correct. What do you mean? He said he's going to get worse before he gets better. Right now, his knees were operated on. When did we do them? December, maybe? January? He's just at the start of his work. Now, you can't jog him easy, so we've been trying to swim him. We've been trying to put him on the walker. He's not he's not an easily pliable horse. So, yeah, he is a little ornery, But once he starts to get comfortable with his workload, I think you'll see him start to relax. What you see right now is him trying to... horses are very regiment-based animals where, they do the same thing all the time, right? Eat in the same place, shit in the same place. That's kind of how horses are. They're very structure-oriented animals, and he hasn't found his structure yet, right? He's got this mix of, some gait work on the walker, some pool work. Then when you go on the track, he can get a little hot, and then we're galloping him now. But he's staying sound, and he's looking good. The only thing I noticed, Shelby said, when he pivots on his left hind, he pivots a little funny sometimes. He did have an old OCD in one stifle we found by accident, to be honest. One of the veterinary clinics, McKee Veterinary Clinic, was putting on a seminar, some courses for their veterinarians, and asked if we would loan them some horses where they could ultrasound them and fluoroscope them and x-ray them. I said, yes, you can. I got 3 for you. Sir Strong, all that was found was his knees were sore, which is upsetting in its own right. The typical stuff with how the hell his knees are really bad. We knew that. Good, considering what they were and what they could have been. But they found an old OCD in a stifle now. Truthfully, as I say it, I probably should have done a little investigation to remember if it was the right or the left. I'm assuming it's the left because of that way he pivots a little bit. Swimming can get them a little sore in their stifles sometimes also. And then, of course, he's now galloping, which also could help that along. So I'm of the belief it's nothing serious. When I would have jogged him the other day, those 4 laps before I turned him, he was sound as a dollar. He wasn't over on a shaft. He was perfect. So I said to Shelby, whatever it is, if it was serious, he would show soreness. If it was even mildly serious, he would be over on a shaft. So if he was off left hind, you'd see him creep over onto that right shaft a little bit. He was straight as a string, right down the middle on both shafts. So did he tweak his, up high in his, did he pull a muscle, or did he, strain himself? That's possible. Could have done it running or swimming or in the stall. Could have got cast. And that leads to the other thing, is that James is always trying to, and I notice my brother Mark does this, and I think just having a lot of horses and being stretched so thin in a number of directions, maybe I've worn down a little bit with my OCDs and some of them anyway. But the meticulous nature, when you're a trainer, you're always trying to figure out the horses. But these aren't Rubik's Cubes because they change, right? Rubik's Cube is the black square. All the cubes are connected and all the stickers are on the cube. It's not. These aren't Rubik's Cubes because the construct of the horse changes all the time. He might have got cast last night. Crantini has been training strong and been a little crazy. Today he was very subdued, very quiet, trained good, not as strong as I thought. So now the trainer in me's thinking, did I just think he was ready to go in 2.5 and he wasn't? Are his feet bothering him? I don't think it was he ready to go there because he was pacey when he went on the track. And I don't remember him being pacey. After talking to Megan, his feet bothered him last year. The first thing that'll make a trotter pacey is their feet, every time. She said she used to do his back and work on one pelvis, got out a little bit sometimes. So it's a number of things, but what was the catalyst? And it's the same with How the Hell. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do. Here's the scoop on How the Hell. He's a lunatic a little bit. He had horrible knees that were operated on, that he's sound on right now. He clearly has a little tweak in his left stifle that I believe will go away with work. But he's at the front end of his workload. He's going to have to polish up. He's going to have to become comfortable where he's behaved and manageable for 3 or 4 or 5 laps before we go to run him. And when we run him, he has to be a professional about it. He has to pull up and behave. When he starts to do that, then he's ready to rock. Right? Then he's comfortable with his workload. And as I said to James, I said, you're right. And he'll get worse before he gets better. He's an athlete. For those of you that ever competed at anything, as you're training, the days you go home and you're like, oh my God, I just want to crawl into something. A hot bath, a cold bath, bed. But you're sore. And that's how these athletes are when they train down too. And we forget about that as trainers. We can't control the construct of the horse. We can't always control what they're up to, what they're doing. We don't know if they're 100% healthy. As I said to James a number of times, the horses aren't always perfect. When's the last time you ask if you know a professional athlete in your life, ask them how many times a baseball player's ever gone on the field at 100%, a football player ever gone on the field at 100%, soccer, any of them. Everybody has little aches and pains they have to get over, and they work through them. That's why it's so rare and so special when you see the horses at 100%, and why it's so rare to see a horse like of my generation or your generation, Some Beach Somewhere, Niatros. Horses that just defy logic. They're just so good all the time. Right? And they're in every sport. And there I go. I've turned an easy video into a 15-minute video. Good for me. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And this is the whole training, and it boils down to exactly what I said last week. Tuesday, I said, yeah, the horses sucked. I didn't like how they went. I thought every single one of them seemed flat. Some of them seemed worse than others. And only a couple, I think out of the entire training day, the last time we did their drone, 2 of them I mentioned in a favorable way that I thought did their work well. That's just being honest. I'm just telling you what you saw also. There's no point trying to sugarcoat it. Say, oh, they were all good today. No, they all sucked. But what else did I tell you? They would all come around. And today was a fantastic day training. So, Locatelli was good. Brace for Landing was good. Crantini was good. Was good. He was good. He was good. He wasn't quite up to what I expected today, but he was good. As I said, Brace was good. How the Hell was good. Very good. I'll run him again on Friday or Saturday. It looks like I'll be going with him Friday or Saturday. So everybody in that regard was very good. I know that Carter Michael Dio is getting close. So is Spitfire. So is James's horse, Hasty Bid. All those horses are getting close. You guys are going to see a bunch of them train tomorrow in the race bike and train at 1.5 miles in preparation of very soon going in the race bike. As I said, all of our sophomores will be ready, either qualified or almost ready to qualify by April 1st, and they're well on their way. You saw a slower mile from Nothing But a Dreamer, Jane, and that I timed it because I didn't ask Harry. It was 1 mile and 2:20, last half 1:05, and I suspect he'll go a little more with him on Saturday also. So all of the sophomores are coming, which led me to believe a lot of people messaged me after the video today and said, Anthony, where do we time? I don't understand where the poles are. So many people forget that this is a 5/8 mile track, like the Poconos, right? Or like Scioto. It's not a half. You don't go around twice. You start on the back stretch and end on the front stretch. So where you see the jogging track just to the right, just off to your periphery on the right, you see horses jogging on another track. That's the finish stretch. The back stretch, the other side, the other stretch, is where you start. Now, one of the poles was knocked down. I think it's the 8th pole, which is also the 3/4 pole. The start pole is a red and white pole about halfway down that back stretch, the starting point. And then finishing up, you have to look close. It's almost past where it was almost past parallel where Curtis was flying. Is the finish pole. Again, you can see a red and white pole. So if you just take your time, maybe rewind your video and look, you can see where the starts and finishes are and all the times were of the horses. Mid-30s for the first, for 3 of the sets, and then punch the clock set went 2:41. So exactly where we wanted to be with everybody. I couldn't have been happier today. As I said, the only unforced error was from McPaisley, and I think Mario probably wishes he had that one back. Type of horse, you just gotta steady her. She's a pacer, you have to drive like a trotter right now. That's the best way for me to explain it. She switches her leads a little bit, you gotta give her a little time. Most pacers, when they switch their leads, you can push them through it and they'll pace through it. This filly, just got to watch her a little bit, just for a couple of strides, and then again down by the wire a couple of strides. So just get her bearings under her, feet under her. But the only unforced error of the day was McPaisley. Everybody else was fantastic. So as I said, the poles are there. So we start on the backstretch. So that jogging lap is just 1 lap around. Then we start on the backstretch. You'll see the start. The pole is down for the 8th pole. There's a red orange pylon there. The next pole you see will be the 1/4 pole. And then down on the stretch, you'll see the 3/8 pole. Then you'll see the half in the turn. In the turn, almost coming out of the turn where we start, and then so on and so forth. The 3/4 pole is down, and then finishing up your mile, you'll see another pole, if you look close, is there also. So there was a few people that asked me about that. I had a number of people also point out to me that the Excelsior Stakes in New York had been raised to 20,000, not 15. Thank you very much, because I wasn't feeling bad enough before. I appreciate the clarification on that. Thank you. So what had happened was, I didn't realize it. We had so many horses to stake. There were 2 horses that got missed staking. One I owned myself that I had bought off Steve and a couple of guys, playtime for Eva, or she had a 3-year-old muscle mass filly. She's not a stake horse anyway. She's just a horse. I don't really care. And the other one was Rito's Lady. Now, I saw Rito's Lady on the system, but she got added late and was missed on the staking. So yes, there was a mistake made. She was not staked. But as I said to everybody else, for us to leave Ontario to go to any jurisdiction, you would have to at least hope that the horses are sire stake horses. Now, a little different for Pennsylvania. We have Tim, we have Megan, and now Mark on the East Coast, and we'd always hit some other trainers there also. So yes, we raced Austral Hanover and Tailgate Buzz in the Stallion Series, but we had the hopes that they would potentially, either with Tailgate Buzz, maybe be a sire stake horse when we started them. Now remember, if you rewind all the way back to last year, we thought that Tailgate Buzz was infinitely better than Austral Hanover. Wasn't the case at all. They ended up being very, very similar. In fact, if you had to give an edge to one, it might be Austral Hanover. Both were very good horses, and there was a place to race them in the Stallion Series, but it's different in New York. New York, you're in, Yonkers, and you're in Saratoga, then you're all the way to Batavia and Buffalo, and then you're here, and you're Monticello, and there's a lot of trucking, a lot of shipping, a lot of expense to not race for a ton of money. Now, if she comes out and she qualifies at 56, and we race her in the non-wars of 1 or 2, and she looks like a nice filly, you know what? That's on me. That's on me. I'm going to have to live with that. And these are the things that bother me when we're staking. You imagine now if we had missed a real good horse, I would have been heartbroken. I would have felt like an idiot, and more than I do right now. So, Rito's Lady, I think, is going to be a nice filly. I think she is going to race this summer. I think she's probably going to be okay. We'll probably do with her like we've done with a few horses in the past. Race her 5 or 6 times and bring her back. Bring her back later in the winter and into the spring. I think she's just a nice kind of meat and potatoes horse. She's gone from how is that ever going to become a racehorse to she's actually nice. James went with her too. He said, I told him we were going. I said, how was she? He goes, she was actually really nice. I said, yeah, you remember when you sent me that text message and told me how terrible she was? I have the text message. He said, wow, she was then. I said, I know. So, yes, the Excelsiors are now 20,000. My apologies. It doesn't change the boat we're in. We're going to have to pay a supplemental fee to ensure that we can stake her at 3. But the 2-year-old season, she's going to remain in Canada also, obviously, which isn't the end of the world. So that is the clarification on the staking. Thank you for everybody for doing that. I appreciate that. Some updates on the Broodmares. Globetrotting was checked. She didn't catch her first time with Kings County. She's ready to breed again, so they're going to rebreed Globetrotting. Today is Tuesday. Thursday morning, she's going to be bred. Eglair AM is bred, I believe, has already been bred or will be bred this week to International Money. Path of Totality. For those of you who aren't my partners on Path of Totality, she did go to the clinic with the filly, or with the colt. With the colt after he was born. He ended up getting a little sick. Nothing serious. Nothing too serious. But he was at the clinic for 10 days. So there is going to be a vet bill, obviously, attributed to Path of Totality stay at the clinic. But you know what? My thinking on this is I don't care. To be honest, it's going to be chalked up into what the colt is worth to us. I was waiting a long time for Path of Totality to have a colt, and then seeing our father Patrick's do so well. What about Lonely Lakewood? We'll talk about a couple of them in a second, because this short video is at 24 minutes now. So Path of Totality, she'll be bred on her full heat. I think this week she can be bred. We were dabbling with breeding her to a number of stallions. I think we're just going to we're going to protect our stallion. We're going to do exactly what we should do. So Kings County will be breeding. Will be this sire in hopefully getting Path of Totality in full. And then Compass Rose DC is the last one. They're just trying to get her to cycle properly. I told them just to, maybe I could do a video for her and warn her that she won't be returning to the races under our banner if she doesn't get in full. So she may want to start cycling properly. and a bunch of our other mares. So when it's all said and done, we'll have 8 trotters and 1 pacing broodmare bred this year. 9 broodmares. 6 of the trotters will go to Kings County. 2 of them will go to International Money, I believe, and the pacer will go back to Lather Up. And Lather Up, I certainly don't have a problem with after watching Venice Blue Chip. She is some kind of nice filly. So we got the polls on the track. We got the staking. We talked about the broodmares. Quick update on Cash Deal. She did tie up the other night. Her AST was 4,200. Probably somewhere half that right now. She'll be fine. She won't race this Sunday. She'll race next. So Mario and I had a long conversation about how we're going to attack that, what he thought. And I just gave him my insight on what I thought as far as running fluids into her and maybe rechecking her next Tuesday, putting her on the race bike and making sure she's tight as we can have her, and then rinse, repeat, back to Flamborough and, race her accordingly. I think the plan he's put in place is probably a good one. So we'll see how that plays out. But she did tie up. Blue Tesla, Mark Beckwith and Melissa, no, it was Mark, had sent me a message and said, hey, I think this filly might have tied up jogging. I said, I'm going to tell you something. She tied up and you have somebody that'll buy her. Bye-bye. Because she picked the wrong time of the year to start this again, apparently. And we talked about the springtime and how tough it is on some of the mares that they start cycling when they get in heat bad and you try and work them. A lot of them will tie up, and this is obviously Cash Deals and a number of other horses. Got to be careful of that. And Blue Tesla's, I can't believe, we had no trouble with this filly when we first got her, and then ever since that time she missed those 2 weeks when Northfield shut down, she's not been good a day since, and it's very, very frustrating to see that unfold. But somebody had said to me, it was so hard to believe that Eldise Patrick and Blue Tesla had slid so bad. Just racing, right? It's racing, and those are the types of horses that keep you up at night. Even me, and I try to turn the page as quick as I can and say, listen, we're doing the best we can. Trying to figure out what's going on inside Blue Tesla's body and head is easier said than done. And the same with Eldise Patrick. And at some point, you just have to say, I can't continue down this path any further for the sake of our clients, you, my partners on the horses. And if that's the position where I'm with Blue Tesla, then so be it. We'll cross that bridge when we get a final. When I had that final discussion with Melissa and Mark about the filly, the mare. Some other people asking me about International Spy. This was one of our best prospects when we first started. I really liked this horse, but he just never found his right footing. There was always one thing after another. He was very immature, and his hocks were bothering him a little bit. We blistered him there fine. Then his feet were bothering him a little bit. We put flip-flops on him. Again, blistered him, went on. Then he get over on the left shaft one day. Then he get over on the right shaft. It just seemed like it was one thing after another with him. And my question, I guess I had 2 paths. First path is very aggressive and just say bye and sell them, which I can make a very good argument for. And the second one was, let's just turn them out. Enough with we're going to patch and go and patch and go and patch and go. Just go. Just turn them out. We'll bring them back in the end of June. Really, those were the only 2 paths. I'd had enough of, blistering him and having the vet look at him and doing work. No, we're in March, April. What are we going to do in July, right? So, International Spy, I think we're just going to kick him out. He's going to go out and we'll bring him back in June. It's the most. There was only 2 paths, and the feedback I got from all my partners on International Spy, I think resounding was just turn him out. And I think we will. So International Spy is going to go out. And then a number of people asking, just trying to pick my brain on Crantini, because from the video, even Megan said, oh my God, he trained great. Yeah, he trained good. He did everything I asked him. My only concern was I thought he was a little flat today, a little blah. And it could have been a number of reasons. Was it his feet? Was it his back? Did he tie up himself a little bit? Was he a little bit sick? A number of things it could have been. We'll draw his blood tomorrow and maybe answer a few more questions, but I'm not too serious about answering questions. One, he ate his lunch and he seemed fine after. Those are 2 big indicators that it was just maybe not his day today. But I do owe it to you, and I do owe it to the horse and myself and everybody to find out what's going on with him. So maybe we will draw his blood. He's been great right up until today. It's not like I've seen this recent decline. Now, I thought he was going to be bionic today, and instead he was just kind of present. Well, was it the track? Or there is always the chance that maybe that's what he was ready to do. I pushed him right to the red line today. I don't think that's it though. He trained better at 1.5 miles in the jog cart than he did today. So no concerns. I didn't see any lameness. He wasn't on a shaft. He wasn't hanging on a line. He didn't, he wasn't sore after. He wasn't hanging his head in the stall. He didn't pick away at his food. He ripped into his lunch. He was playing around, Amy said when she left. So I'm not really worried about Crantini. I didn't mean to raise any alarms or ring a bell and have everybody worried about him. I thought the horses have trained great. I thought the brace was great. Horses I went with today, I was extremely impressed with. And I guess the last one, I get the odd email, some people saying, how's good as him? Good as him is progressing as good as we would hoped. Fall of 2023, that's the hope for him. I haven't followed up with Stacy. She had said she thought he might be getting feeling a little good in the stall, and maybe, they were wondering about what they should do, which we just bring him back here and put him in the pool. And that's an option also. So those are the updates. I know I had talked with a number of people about how the horses went today, who impressed me the most. So I guess it is important, I guess, to give a shout out to the horses that look good. I thought they all looked good today, but of the ones that I saw and I went with, Hallie in the Clouds won the set easily. Still a little rickety. I think she's just going through a growth spurt. So I would say she was good today. Did her work very professionally, didn't look to run, and actually to be on the front, command the race, come a last half in like 13 or 14, I think. Did her work well. I was happy with her. A horse, after watching the replays, I thought looked great was Don't Talk About Bruno. This is Crantini's brother. I thought the horse looked very, very good. Horse that I also thought looked good today, especially after last week, was James's horse, Blarney Castle. Watch Your Mouth looked great, and verified on video exactly what happened with Watch Your Mouth down the lane. Jumped over that pile of shit that was on the track. You could see it coming. You could see him stop, look at it, jump over, and then come back pacing. There's no doubt what happened there. So the first set was great, as I said before. Drebin, I thought, looked fantastic today. Top shelf today. He was very good. Winter Bells looked very professional. Amy said she is over on the shaft a little bit. You'll see this throughout the spring. Horses will coast here and there. As I said to her, I believe, and she was the one that said it, go back and look at the bet notrometer. Looked at the sesamoids behind. It's pretty indicative of the breed, I believe. Maybe just put a little blister on those hind ankles. She'll come back around, I'm sure of that. And of course, Lonely Lakewood, what kind of a last? I know I came a last half in like 9 or 10. His last half had to be 107, 106. Big last half from Lonely Lakewood. He looked very good today. Rito's Lady looked good. In Insider Trading, I know I had somebody say she doesn't look the same as she did at Christmas, because she's not. I want her to stay very low stress. Very low stress from here on out. Maybe in the next month or so, at some point, I'll jump on her and spark her up a little bit. But for now, I'm very, very happy with what I've seen from Insider Trading. Then third set, I'm still floating around watching Punch the Clock train. Man, did she ever look good. Yes, we moved over and let her through, and yes, we made sure that she was going to get to us. But once she got to us, it trotted past. And she trotted past Flash Fly and George of the Jungle. We couldn't catch back up to her. It was a real chore. I was happy with everybody in that set again. Johnny, George of the Jungle looked great. I was very happy with Flash Fly. Punch the Clock was awesome. Seasons 11, J-Port Beach Boy right behind us. Another great set there. And then the last set of the day was another great set. You guys have no idea. You can't tell because of the height of the drone. But Time Is On My Side is enormous now. This is going to be a giant of an animal. And James, I really thought when we pulled up and say, I would like to see him finish up a little stronger. He said, called on him a couple of times. I really thought he was going to give me that, but instead he said, no, he was awesome. Very, very good. Which is great, because James is not big on giving out glowing reports. He knows how optimistic I get, so he stays real low-key all spring and into the summer. And even he said Time Is On My Side was great. Ready for landing. Mentally, physically, looked like a different horse. Looked like he took a gigantic step forward from his last few training trips. Last week was good. The two before that, not so good. But today he's going on 2 very, very good training trips in a row. You can see there's still chances. There's still a place where he could have overtrotted himself. He wanted to come to Time Is On My Side, and he was coming to him. And the closer I got to him, the hotter he got in the face. But he loads left. I just had to really keep him contained. And then I know getting to the point of the turn after the mile is where he'll make breaks, and he's almost done it every time we've trained him. And I just cinched him right up and really hauled on him through the turn. And once I felt him get his feet under him, I let him trot back on again down the lane, down the back stretch after the mile. And I just thought the horse looked very, very good. And great bet starting to look like a horse, starting to look good now. He's making big strides, and as I said, the only letdown really of the day was the miscue of McPaisley. We'll work on her, same as we're working on everybody, and we'll get her squared away also. So as much as I was a little disappointed in these horses training in the last drone set, you can see the difference now, and I tell you guys how good they've been looking, how good they've been training, and how impressed I was today was exactly an affirmation of that. So, a long video that was supposed to be about 5 minutes long, instead it ended up being a 35-minute video. But you know what? I got a 4-hour drive ahead of me, so too bad. Anyway, I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching the videos today. I know a lot of you are still home watching them now as they're pre-taped, so to speak. But it was a good day, and it is a nice day here as I head into Ohio. I am really, really excited about tomorrow. We have 8 sets of babies for you coming in. They are live, coming to you live tomorrow. We have, as Jason told me, 3 sets of 3-year-olds training. I think at least 1 set, if not 2, training in the race bike. That should be a lot of fun tomorrow. And then I'm going to stretch the legs of Patrick the Piranha tomorrow morning also. I'm going to get a good look at what he likes to do in between racing. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to continue on my drive. I will talk to you all very, very soon. I hope you're having